What I did for Nas probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life.
Jim Jones ain't just tossing slick comments at Nas no more, he's talking pulling up. But the crazy part? Nas barely even blinks at him. When Nas did speak on it, it was so cold and dismissive it made Jim spiral again. This ain't your regular rap beef, it's a one-sided obsession. Jim's stuck on a grudge from way back in the early 2000s when Dipset was throwing shots at Nas on mixtapes. It was just lyrical smoke back then, and Nas, he didn't even flinch. Now here's where it gets wild. An old clip just popped back up where Nas clowned Jim hard, basically saying Jim wasn't even worth the breath. That should have shut the whole thing down right there. But Jim? Nah, he took that personal forever. Years later, he was still pressed and even said he'd slap Nas. Like what? Fast forward to now, and Jim's going off on anybody who dares question his claim that he's better than Nas. He's not just talking tough on podcasts, he's actually threatening to show up on Nas. Fans on the internet went crazy, roasting Jim left and right. Folks are calling him a washed-up rapper chasing clout and not holding back one bit. What's worse? This time, it ain't just loud talk. Jim's threat set off a major wave of backlash, and people are saying he's doing way too much for someone who never got a proper response in the first place. Jim Jones just keeps talking wild about pulling up. But Nas, he's out here moving like Jim doesn't even exist. On the Bag Fuel podcast recently, Jim straight up claimed that he's the reason Nas went viral again. He said Nas hasn't trended like that since Ether. The audacity. Then he got even louder, saying all the rappers from his era are too shook to go bar for bar with him, like they're scared to even step in the booth. And of course, Jim doubled down, claiming he's still the best from that whole generation. No doubt in his mind.
About Pusha T.
People don't like people, yeah, see? There we go. And then look what happens. But I'm ready for all things, man. Shouts to Pusha, shouts to that guy, shouts to the clips. You know what I mean? Congratulations.
Do you like the new song?
No, but you know.
You don't like Ace Trumpets?
What's so great about
it? It's so good.
It's good?
It's so, oh man.
It's good?
So yeah, there's something going on that you ain't tell us about, bro.
It's good in what? A nostalgic value of it?
You don't think Ace Trumpets is
believe
hard?
it. I don't believe them.
Oh.
But that's a whole nother story. I don't want to downplay nobody's craft.
But it didn't stop there. Jim pulled out stacks of money on camera and challenged Nas or anyone else to come settle it face to face. He was daring folks to meet him in person, trying to turn rap beef into some real-life showdown. But guess what? Nobody's reacting. All Jim's really doing is embarrassing himself with this whole circus act. People are watching like, yo, what is he doing? It's looking more like a cry for attention than anything serious. If you didn't catch where this all started, it popped off earlier this month during his stop on the Joe and Jada podcast. Jim started talking about how his view of Nas changed once he got into the rap industry himself. Then, when Fat Joe brought up a kid online comparing him to Nas, Jim snapped, firing back quick and telling people to go check the Billboard charts if they really want to know why he picks himself over anybody. Jim told everybody to go check the Billboard stats if they want to know why he always puts himself above whoever he's compared to. But here's the kicker. That whole Billboard brag, it totally backfired. Turns out Billboard actually fact-checked Jim and the numbers didn't lie. As a solo artist, Jim's only got 2 Hot 100 hits and just 1 top 10. Meanwhile, Nas, he's sitting on 27 Hot 100 entries, 2 top 10s, and when you check the album charts, it gets way worse for Jim. Jim's catalog has only landed 3 times on the Billboard 200. But Nas, he's got 27 albums that charted, with 16 of those hitting top 10 and 6 making it all the way to number 1 or close. Top 2. That's not even close. So not only did Jim embarrass himself with that fake flex, but he completely destroyed his own argument about being the best from his era. The stats just don't back it up, and fans were quick to call him out. But instead of owning the L, Jim doubled down. The drama lit up again when he went on the Nightcap show with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson. And that's where things took a turn, because Jim actually gave Nas a little credit.
I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear and shit, and we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Bell.
For the first time in this whole mess, Jim gave Nas a little credit for early influence, but then immediately questioned how long that impact really lasted. It all kicked off when Shannon Sharpe asked Jim if he was even sober when he said he was a better rapper than Nas. That's when Jim snapped, doubling down and saying not only is he better, but he's also more influential than the legendary Nas. The confidence was off the charts. Then Jim circled back to Dipset's short-lived beef with Nas in the early 2000s, saying, "We the ones that went wild on them boys," pointing straight to their 2003 banger, "I Really Mean It." Jim made it sound like Dipset ran the whole thing. Now we'll break down that history soon, but first, Shannon wasn't letting him slide. He fired back, saying Nas lyrically outclasses Jim. Shannon even said, "I don't know who told you that, though. You not seeing Nas." Still, Jim stood on it. No backing down. He threw out a fresh challenge, telling Nas to meet him in the booth if he really wants to settle this once and for all. Jim's ego clearly won't let this go, no matter what anybody says. After all the tough talk, Jim tried to calm things down a bit, telling Shannon he wasn't mad. But that peace didn't last long. Things heated right back up when Jim suddenly challenged Shannon to meet him in the gym, throwing shade by accusing both Shannon and Ocho of only inviting him on their show to boost their ratings. And that's when Jim completely lost it, spiraling into a full-on public meltdown while the internet ate him alive. Fans were dragging him all over social media, calling out the desperation and saying he was doing way too much. Meanwhile, Shannon clapped back, basically saying Jim needs their platform way more than they ever needed him. The energy got spicy fast. But Jim wasn't finished, not even close. He took it straight to Instagram, fired up, and still throwing hands online. He posted a workout video, flexing hard, and dropped this wild caption. "Somebody tell Shannon Sharp, don't start ducking this challenge now. You gonna talk like a podcaster, or you gonna walk what you talk? 'Cause my sneaker's tied." And he kept going. Jim reminded Shannon, "You already challenged me in front of the world. Might as well finish the job." Then he brought in Ocho Cinco's name, saying, "Champ Ocho Cinco said he don't want to do it in public. Tell him we can do it in private. I know Shannon's rep as an athlete on the line. As long as you the witness, we don't duck no challenges. Size don't matter where I'm from." Jim was fired up like he was stepping into the ring, not the studio. The whole thing started as rap drama, and now it's turning into a fitness showdown. "Run it, young David, to all Goliaths." That's what Jim Jones posted, trying to hype himself up like he's the underdog stepping to giants. But that Jim flex, it blew up in his face badly. Fans went straight to the comments, clowning him hard, saying stuff like he got wheelchair legs and calling him a full-blown cornball for chasing attention like this at damn near 50. The internet showed no mercy, and the whole stunt made him look even more desperate. And Nas, yeah, he finally kinda responded. But before we get to that, let's be real. Calling this whole situation a beef is giving it too much credit. It's really just Jim Jones beefing with himself. This mess actually goes way back to 2003, when Cameron and the Diplomats, Jim included, were tossing shots at Nas on mixtapes and radio freestyles like it was a sport. But Nas, he barely acknowledged it. Then in 2005, Nas made it crystal clear where he stood. In a resurfaced clip, he straight up dismissed Jim, saying he wasn't even worth engaging with. No one was checking for him, and he never made anybody nervous with his bars. That's cold. Jim's been carrying that one-sided grudge ever since, and now it's spiraling into something nobody asked for. About a year after all that tension started building, Nas dropped Hip Hop Is Dead, a project that rubbed a lot of rappers the wrong way. But no one took it more personal than Jim Jones, who acted like Nas dropped the album just to spite him. In an interview with SOHH.com, Jim didn't hold back. He said, "But Nas? I like Nas's new song. I'll still slap the holy living-ish out of him, but I like his new song. That Where My Gangsta's At, that ish is kind of slick. He got a couple bars in there, but aside from that, I like music, so I can never, but I'll punch him in his mouth if I had to." That statement was wild. Compliment and threat all in one breath. And even though Nas never engaged, never gave the drama any fuel, Jim kept pressing the issue like he had something to prove. Fast forward to October 2008, and Jim is still throwing fire in an interview with Rhapsody.com. This time, the shots were even heavier. He said, "F Nas, I don't give an F about Nas, he's a rapper that just lost his pizzazz." That wasn't just ego, it was a man trying to tear down a legend to prop himself up. Then Jim told a story about a run-in with Nas and Dame Dash at a Ferrari dealership. He made it sound like Nas froze up in the moment. Jim said, "Dame seen him and was talking to him. I was laying back on a couch laughing. He didn't know what to do. I was looking dead at him. And then Dame was like, 'You know Jim,' and started stammering." Jim didn't just take shots at Nas. He went at Dame too, saying, "Dame is just burnt out. He not thinking about none of that frivolous ish? Me neither." But here's the kicker. While Jim kept claiming he didn't care about the drama, he's the one dragging this grudge out for years. Still sneak dissing, still talking. Meanwhile, Nas has been ghosting him from the start. Jim's out here yelling into a void, trying to drag someone into a fight they never agreed to. After 2008, everything between Jim and Nas went quiet. No more public shots, no back and forth, just silence. For a minute, it looked like Jim had finally let it go. He even started showing some respect for Nas's legacy. At one point, he admitted that he reached out, trying to make a collaboration happen. But Nas, he didn't even respond. Not a text, not a call, nothing. What's even crazier is that Jim openly admitted Nas was one of his favorite rappers of all time. He said Nas had a big influence on him coming up in the game. And even after being ignored, Jim still got on public platforms practically begging for a feature, calling Nas the GOAT with no shame in it. But now, Jim's completely flipped the script. One minute he's praising Nas like a fan, and the next, he's acting like he barely knows who Nas is. Suddenly, he's questioning the legacy he used to admire and playing it off like Nas ain't really that impactful. The switch-up has fans confused because how you go from giving someone flowers to acting like they never mattered. That energy shift says a lot more about Jim than it does about Nas. So it's really no shock that folks are out here clowning Jim Jones left and right, saying whoever hyped him up enough to think he could wrap circles around Nas has gotta be his worst enemy. The internet has been ruthless, calling out the delusion loud and clear. Meanwhile, Nas is sitting on Hall of Fame status, unbothered and untouchable. He doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. Jim, on the other hand, is out here looking like that 40-something baller still chasing his first championship ring, while everyone else is already in the rafters. But just when Jim thought he had the upper hand, Nas hit back, with class. No diss track, no yelling, just a cold, calculated move that left Jim looking tiny in comparison. On June 21st, Nas posted a photo on Instagram having dinner with LeBron James, Draymond Green, and a table full of powerful, successful Black CEOs. It wasn't loud, but it spoke volumes. The message couldn't have been clearer. You can't sit with us. Fans flooded Nas's comment section, calling it the most savage non-response they've ever seen. One person wrote, "This is how you silence a one-hit wonder." Another said, "Sometimes saying nothing says everything." And the real Nas fans, they knew exactly what was up. One user even reminded everyone of that classic Nas bar. "It's rare I listen to dudes who never been in my position. A caterpillar can't relate to what an eagle envisions." That one line alone put the whole situation in perspective. While Jim's yelling for attention, Nas is flying high above it all, focused on legacy, power moves, and rooms most rappers will never be invited into. If you like this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let us know what you think about Jim versus Nas. Was this beef ever real or just one-sided delusion? Hit that share button too, and we'll catch you on the next one.